Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be answering the question of whether or not you should be buying wheel spacers for your car. Before we get into today's video, guys, if you guys could leave a like and a subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. I put in a lot of effort in these videos and I'm trying to hit 200 subs. If you guys could go down there and hit the subscribe button, I appreciate that a lot. That having been said, we'll get right into it. All right, so as you guys know, I have a 2023 GR86. So when I went to go purchase wheel spacers, I initially had looked to get the Faction Fab 20mm spacers off of the FT Speed site. Those were about $280, which at the time I was looking at it, I'm like, this is kind of a lot of money for spacers. Like, it's just a piece of metal that goes in between like the hub and the wheel. I figured, you know what, it's probably fine. I'd rather spend a lot of money and get like a quality part than, you know, cheap out and get something bad. So I went ahead and placed an order. This was January-ish maybe. Fast forward about 2 months, absolutely nothing arrived in the mail. I heard nothing from FT Speed. I didn't get any kind of information on my order at all. At this point I was like, I spent $280 and I didn't get anything. Was this a scam or something? But so I went ahead and went to the FT Speed site. I had tried to have my order canceled and they asked me why, because I'm like, I was like, because it hasn't arrived. I ordered it like 2.5 months ago and it hasn't arrived. So luckily they had the order canceled for me and I got a full refund. It's just kind of weird that like you'd spend all that money. The thing is, like, if it's out of stock, right? You'd think they'd either say it's out of stock on the site or they wouldn't give you the ability to order it at all. But in this case, like, I was able to order it on the site and it didn't show up for 2 whole months. So not sure what was up with that, but you know, I just assumed I might as well let you guys know how this went for me. You know, in case you happen to go through the same thing, at least you have kind of a like point of reference for it. So anyway, after I got my refund, I went ahead and went online. I'm like, where can I find me some 20mm spacers for this car? So after a few days of looking, I came across what I ended up purchasing, which is the Titan Wheel Accessories 20mm spacers for the GR86. So I ended up paying roughly like $130 for them. So what I did is I bought the spacers themselves, and I also bought additional wheel lugs. If you wanted to only buy the wheel spacers, you'd be looking at roughly like $100, which again is a fair price for wheel spacers. $280 is like a bit much, honestly. So anyways, for $100, what can you expect when you get wheel spacers? Quality wise, if you caught my install video, linked in the card above, I think it's on this side, you'll see that the quality is pretty good, right? They had shipped, they were packed well. Again, I don't think I had mentioned, I ordered them off of Titan's site. They shipped in 3 days and arrived at my house. The spacers themselves, they look like they were machined well. They fit on the hub of the car perfectly. There were no weird kind of gaps or anything like that. I was able to have them installed within like about an hour and a half. That's with it having to be filmed. If I weren't filming, it'd be like an hour install maybe. It all fit super well. Honestly, for $100, I can't complain. Like, they're actually really good. So yeah, overall product quality is very, very good. I'm incredibly happy with it. I think it was a great purchase. I mean, and of course the actual fitment of the wheels on the car afterwards looked so much better. Like, I'm not at a point right now where I can afford to get like nice aftermarket wheels or a suspension or anything like that. So being able to just spend like $100 and actually get like acceptable fitment, there's just nothing else like it. So how did installing spacers impact the handling of this car? So normally when I put this car in its track mode, which turns off the stability control, the car would usually like want to slide out like a lot. Like, frequently, anytime I take a turn and I just hit the gas a little more than I should, the rear is just coming out, right? After installing these spacers, right, the rear just doesn't come out as much, right? Like, to get the rear out, like after install, I've only been able to get the rear out once, which is I was on a super sharp turn and I really hit the gas and the rear came out. But other than that, it just handles so much better, right? Like, I can hit the gas and the rear just puts the power down so well. I mean, a lot of people are gonna argue that...
Approaching a railroad crossing.
Thanks for the interruption, Waze. A lot of people are gonna argue that like the car's fun aspect is that the rear just comes out all the time, right? And while I agree with that, right? I personally like a car to just put the power down and handle super well, right? And I do like this car that it handles very well, but like installing these spacers seriously improved that far beyond stock and far beyond what I thought spacers could do. Realistically, if you were to install aftermarket wheels, let's say they're a little chunkier, right? they would inherently do the exact same thing in that they would limit how the car handles, or at least change how it handles, right? So fundamentally, I'm not against the car being less slidey. If anything, I think it's better from a performance point of view, and just the fact that like it just feels better to drive, in my opinion. So overall thoughts, should you or should you not buy spacers for your car? I think it purely depends on what you want to do with it. If you're already planning on having aftermarket wheels put on and like coilovers and all that kind of stuff, I don't think spacers inherently make sense for you, because it's already going to change how the car or like how the suspension specifically handles and everything. I don't think it's like worth it to invest in them just to not have them work afterwards. So if you just bought the car and you're like me, you're like a little bit broke, and you want the car to at least look a little better and handle a little better, honestly, then absolutely, at 100% say get some spacers. They'll absolutely change how the car handles for the better. To mention, the car looks so much better with them on, because it basically gives you like flush fitment as much as like stock suspension can allow for, which, I mean, again, it's a nice look. That with the handling, with the good price off of Titan's site, like, send it. It's absolutely worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys liked it, please leave a like and a subscribe. I do take a lot of time to film and to edit all these videos, so if you could, that would be much appreciated. Have a good one.